about not just how to fund your business with no money, but we're also going to talk about business credit cards as well. A bunch of you guys have asked for an update on business credit cards. They're going to be probably the best one that we do for 2024 because we've got an expert when it comes to business credit cards and getting your business funded from the beginning if you got no capital.
Yeah, my name's Andrew Imbesi, and I help businesses get funding. I mean, simple as that. We focus mostly on 0% interest business credit cards. We've helped over 3,000 people in the last 2.5 years get more than $110 million in funding from the banks. So that's what I've been doing. It was something that worked very early on for me when I got started with entrepreneurship, funding different businesses and investments. And it just became something I started being known for in the circles I was in, because there's a lot of people who had this same problem where they were looking to get access to funding, or they were trying to take advantage of a business or a mentorship program, and they didn't have the money to get started. And so someone had helped me get access to credit, and then I started helping some other people. So that's how, I started running my business. It was just me very early on in the beginning. I knew a little bit about business organization, different divisions on an organizing board, which is so important for anyone watching. If you're wanting to start a business, like, you need an org board. You need to know where people are in your company when you grow and expand your business, so that way you know where to hire inside your business. So I was able to sustain a one-man operation for quite some time. And I think the thing that really motivated me to expand was my brother and one of my best friends, Paul, who were working for me at the time. And they just were not making enough money. It was me winning and the clients winning, but I wanted them to win too. So that really gave me that motivation that, okay, I want to expand my impact. I want to help more people. So we finally, after a couple of months, figured out this hiring thing. And we went from helping 20 to 30 clients per month to 200 a month within 5 months. We just expanded the sales team, expanded the fulfillment team. We were training all of them. And so, that was all that happened going into 2023. And we've been operating like that ever since. And I think a lot of the business credit gurus out there, really can be a little deceiving sometimes. They're saying oh, this industry's risky, and this is that matters when you're going to get bigger lending products like business loans. But when you're getting a business credit card at a 0% interest rate, a lot of the time the banks don't really care as long as it's not something completely risky. By that I mean it's not really going to cash flow. The bank wants to get paid back.
Of course.
They don't want to lend 0% forever. It's really just an intro offer to bring in new clients. They want them to open checking accounts, open other products, and it's a very enticing offer to get people in the door. A lot of people think about credit cards and they think about cash back and travel points and all this other stuff, and one of the big offers that's overlooked is the 0% offer. Which you don't have to have any proof of income, you don't need any tax returns, no bank statements, none of that, and you could get anywhere between $2,000 and $150,000 on a single card. And you could even liquidate the card. There's so much that you can do. There's no origination points.
What are the base requirements for someone to get that funding, you'd say?
All they need is a good credit score. That's it. They just need a 700 plus credit score.
Okay.
And, there's different ways that we work with people if they don't have a 700 plus credit score. If something like credit card debt is the only thing stopping them from having a 700 plus, we have private lenders that pay down their credit cards temporarily.
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit. I really like the fact that you brought up the two angles that you have for getting capital, right? So you can go getting a bank loan, right? A traditional bank loan, which they're going to want your maybe tax returns. They're going to want everything.
Proof of income, all that stuff.
Proof of income. You got to have 2 years of employment, etc. Every time I apply for a mortgage, guys, right? When I buy a house, they get, I got to give them so much goddamn documents, right? Because the housing crash or whatever, and they're sensitive to lend money. I got to give them so much documents to be able to go ahead and get that loan to buy a house. However, on your perspective, where it's look, you can get up to $150K off of a credit card, which will allow you to get your business started. And I really like the fact that you mentioned, yes, a lot of these credit cards give you 18 months, 24 months, 0% interest. So you can kind of, I don't want to say let the debt build up, but you can let the balance go up a bit, become profitable, and then start paying it back. And then you also mentioned that you guys have, which is wild to me, you guys have private lenders that will temporarily pay their credit cards off so that they can get their credit score up to that 700 plus, apply to get the credit card.
If you're one of those people who, you're behind on some credit card bills and you don't have a lot of money, but you want to invest in yourself, the biggest thing that I've seen with just, and you've probably seen a lot of the same thing, is with entrepreneurs, with people who want to be successful, the confidence that they have, the knowledge that they have, those are two huge things that they need going into it, doing something like this. Because if they have a lot of confidence in themselves to make it go right, and they acquire the right knowledge in terms of business skill or whatever industry they want to get into, those things are just huge to back them up when getting into something like this. Where did you invest your money? And for me, I invested back in myself. I invested in mentorships. I knew that I needed to learn skills like sales, marketing, how to run a business, because these are all fundamentals of growing and scaling a business that's successful. So I think mentorships is just like the best route to go. Like if you're watching videos, you can only get so far, but when you're actually working one-on-one with someone who's done the things that you want to do, it just makes the path so much easier for success. 97% of businesses fail within 10 years. And there's 3 reasons why they fail. It's number 1, it's a lack of good people. So there's like a lack of good people inside your business, or you can't find good people. They're disengaged. They're not really there for the mission, vision, values of your business. Number 2 is lack of product demand. Like your product is just not good enough. People don't want to actually go and buy your product, and there's not enough people out there. So that's number 2. And number 3 is a lack of working capital. So they don't have enough capital to actually start or scale a business. So if you're someone who actually wants to go through these steps, like cash is so important when you're starting out. Like I wouldn't even use your cash, because you definitely don't want to not have cash. It's important that you could leverage these 0% business cards. When I started the business in January 2022, I had $5,000 cash in my bank account. I had maybe like $80,000 of credit card debt actually, and $20,000 available. Wow. And so what I did was I took that 0% and I started just throwing a little bit of money at the Google ads. I would get a sale, make a little payment, get a sale, make a payment, and the $80,000 because I invested in a ton of mentorships and stuff, right? So pay a little bit back, and then all of a sudden, like the numbers like reversed after a few months, and now I had like 50 grand in my bank account after a few months and no credit card debt. So making those minimum payments were sweet. So to answer your question, I know I went
with no interest,
which is important. No origination points. Didn't have to show proof of income. None of that. Just had to have a 700 plus credit score. A lot of people don't know that the banks are giving out free capital at 0% interest rates, because it's a offer that's very often overlooked. Everyone thinks about credit cards and thinks cashback, thinks travel points, but they don't see the 0% offer, and they don't think that they can liquidate the credit too. You could actually charge the credit card as a purchase, get the money out, and use the money for real estate deals and all this different stuff. Minimum requirements we usually see for people is like 700 credit score, less than like 20 or 30% utilization per credit card. Ideally, they have no late payments, but I've still been able to make it go right for people that have maybe 1 or 2 30-day late payments. They own at least 1 credit card for at least a year or 2, and these are like bare minimum. They're not going to get crazy $150,000 credit card results, but they'll get something. Benefit of having business credit is that it doesn't report to your personal credit score. So you could max out an entire business credit card and it does not report to your personal credit like these personal credit cards do. So that's huge, because that helps, especially down the road. If you want to continue getting more credit, your personal credit score is good, and that's really all they're looking at. So that's step 2. Is just having an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, right? Just having those articles of incorporation or an EIN. And an EIN letter.
What's the EIN number, just for the audience?
An EIN is like your social security number for your business. It's just a identification number for your business. From there, really you just look for the best strategy at each bank. Now, everyone has a different funding plan of different banks that you'll go and apply to. For someone who lives in Florida, it's going to be different for them than it would be for someone who lives in Montana. Shout out Matt. He's like,
because they'll have different, I guess, offers there and benefits in different states that you might not necessarily have available to you in a certain state. Need $10,000. They got their EIN and the 700 credit score. How should they go about getting that 10K?
I would honestly just keep it very simple. Like, really when you're trying to stack and get a large amount of funding, you're going to all these different banks.
Okay.
Right. But if you're just looking for maybe one card, because you could get 10,000 on one or two cards.
Yeah.
I would just say, like some good personal cards, for example, or like Discover. They usually give a limit between 2 and 15,000.
Oh, so you don't even think they need to get a business credit card?
They could if they want 10K. A business credit card. I would say like 2 solid places I really like are American Express, and I also like Chase. Yeah, okay. Of course.
Amex.
We all love Chase over here, man.
So if they want 10K, go ahead and get Amex or Chase for. Would this be a personal credit card or a business credit card?
They could get a business credit card.
Business?
Yeah. Business green or
charges.
Yeah, those are the charge cards. Yeah, those are the ones that you have to pay in full every month. But those are awesome for ad spend and different things like that. Like I'll use my gold card for all my ad spend. I'll get 4 times points and then travel for free through the whole year.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And now I've actually switched to the business premier with Chase. I really like that card because I get 2.5% cash back on purchases above 5,000, and I'm dumping a ton of money into Google ads. I think the best answer for just a wide range of people is just look what's in your area. And the best way to find out, and look, there's going to be a little bit of work involved with this, is just actually being confident in just approaching a banker and asking them questions. I think a lot of people think that bankers are standoffish and that they don't want to let you in, but relationship managers and bankers are incentivized on you opening an account with them.
Yeah,
like that's their comp plan, that's their incentive bonus. There's 3 methods to get business credit cards in a very effective way. It's number 1, you could just apply online through the algorithm, and that might just be the only best strategy. Number 2, you could do it remote or with a relationship manager. So that's working with someone who works at the bank. These are often difficult to get in touch with. It's not like very simple to get in touch with because normally they're working with businesses that do over $1 million a year.
Okay.
So they're not very readily available. There's the relationship manager and then there's the business banker. These are 2 separate job occupations. So you want to get in touch with the relationship manager, not the business banker. The business banker is good, but they may just simply do an online application with you, which is kind of a disservice because there's some banks out there where you could do the online application, get 10,000, or you could do relationship manager and get 50. So it's very important to actually study and research. And sometimes the bankers...
Will they let you talk to that relationship manager though? If you're not or would you have to show proof that your business generates a certain amount of money for them to even let you have that conversation with them?
So the trick there is that you just have to call more banks to get in touch with the people you want to get in touch with.
Okay, all right. So hey, I want to speak to a relationship banker, and then hopefully you just try enough times, and you'll maybe be able to get one on the line.
Exactly. They're very difficult to get in touch with. Sometimes they don't talk to everyone. We've really nailed down some like internal strategies to really get a hold of them faster, ways to get in touch with them. But that's the second way, is just remote relationship manager. So the third is just walking into the branch. It's just as simple as that. Yeah. It's knowing what you're going to get from each place and what bureaus they're going to pull from. Like the best way to answer that question, because it's kind of like, I think in my mind, 2 questions in one, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how do I know how many banks to go to and, what do I do? So each bank pulls from a different bureau. So normally we like to stick to around 2 to 3 inquiries per bureau, and for the people who have really good credit scores, they can go and hit 4 inquiries per credit bureau, right? Like this bank will pull Experian, this bank will pull Equifax, this bank will pull TransUnion, and that stuff is very important to know, because in understanding the credit score requirements, things like that, understanding the exposure that each bank is going to give you.
How'd you find that out?
A lot of research, man.
That is tricky, bro.
It is tricky. It takes a lot of time. Like the best way to go about doing it is figuring out, what do you need? And if you don't want to open up a ton of credit cards, how many places do I need to go to? Which place is likely going to give me the most here, the most there? Oh, maybe not this place because it's not going to give me a lot. So it's really just planning around what are the best places to go.
Should people be aiming to go to the big banks, the Chases, the Wells Fargos, the Bank of Americas, etc., or should they be going to try to go to like these smaller credit unions, like a Truist or whatever, that might give better terms? How should they go about it?
That's a very good question. It's understanding who the bank wants as a client.
Okay.
Because some banks are not going to take people who have those bare minimum requirements that I mentioned earlier, right? Like a 700 plus 1 year of credit history. There's many banks that will not take that, right? So it's important to understand like what each bank will want, right?
Okay.
So there's some banks that are going to be stricter than others, and some will be more lenient, of course.
Can you give us one bank that someone that has these bare minimum requirements can go to and at least have a decent chance of getting approved for a business credit card?
I would say Truist is a good one.
Truist is a good one that
That's
most
probably
people can
like one of the easier ones.
exclusively like an American thing.
That's a good question too. So a lot of all the funding that we do is American.
Mm-hmm.
There are banks in Canada, the UK, Australia. There are banks in those countries that do have 0% offers. They're a lot harder to find. Sometimes they're 2% interest or 4% interest. And that's the promotional offer, but that's still pretty nice.
Yeah.
And the cashback offers aren't really as great.
Well, it's better than the 17 to 20% that they normally would charge you for credit card interest.
Yeah, totally. So I know, like, for example,